Hello, all you little Insta fuckers. Hi, the world famous marijuana man. I'm live on my fucking YouTube channel. Link is in my goddamn fucking description. Be there or be fucking square. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sounds about white. Okay. Oh, hello, all you little YouTubers. And whoever still watches this crap, right? I mean, my YouTube channel has been deleted, 7 times, so not too many of you left. We've got the mighty sublimator here. Oh, we do. Almighty. Oh, I've been busy. Guess what? I got some good news, folks. My good friend Pony, he got released from prison after 14 years. Oh, yeah. He shot a police officer and killed a fucking pedophile. He's a fucking hero to everybody else. He didn't even belong in prison. The police officer only got shot because he stood between him and the pedophile. And so anybody who wants to protect a fucking scumbag pedophile, well, they can die too, right? It's no big loss to the world. And so that's why I got 14 years. And so now he's a free man, and he's got a hero's welcome in Vancouver. He's hanging at my office there with good old Noodles. Oh, folks, I think I need to use can opener. There we go. That works too. And so there we go. The fucking sludge. Yeah, he used to be a friend of mine in Cornell, folks. And the scumbag molested his daughter. And one day the scumbag was at the local pub on the dance floor dancing. So a police officer tried to stop him from entering there because he knew what was going to happen. So he shot the police officer in the head. Then he walked over his dead body, walked into the bar, walked onto the dance floor, and decapitated the fucking pedophile right there in the middle of the dance floor. It was quite a scene. Yeah. They tried to charge me with accessory, but I got off, folks, because I did drop him off there. Oh, yeah. Oh, folks, it was a good day, you know? It was. And so we're going to get all fucked up. We're going to fuck up some shit here. Oh, put it into your mouth, Mrs. Murphy. It only weighs 1/4 pound. And it's got hair all around it like a fucking turkey. And it stiffs when you rub it up and down. Oh, yeah, that's the educational segment of our program, folks. You know, some people, they don't know this shit. So Noodles is going to get Pony some really good weed and some good booze and some hookers and stuff tonight to celebrate his newfounded freedom. And it's going to be good times for him. And he's probably going to tune into the show if he hasn't already. Who knows? He doesn't have a YouTube account, folks. So, la 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 la, da da do. Ah, look at that. Oh, fuck, why does this thing keep shutting off? Luckily, I caught it in time this time. And so, it's time to fuck up some fucking shit. I bought a big 23-pound leg of pork today, folks. It'll become ham when I cook it tomorrow. So half of it will be a honey ham. The other half will probably turn into pulled pork and who knows what the fuck else, right? Oh, yeah, it's going to be good times. Oh, la, la, la. Cha, cha, cha. So here we go. Fire in the hall. Oh, folks, the health minister in Canada today said that he would like to see the provinces make COVID injections mandatory. I'm not sure how he'd do that. It's impossible, right? But he said it nevertheless. Oh, yeah. What a bag of shit. Yeah. I know a few of my friends, folks, if some pigs knocked on their door saying time for a COVID shot, they'd be dead pigs. It's just how it is, right? Like Pony, he already told me today he'd have no problem shooting one that came to his door. Oh. And so, like he already has done in the past. Oh, fuck. That'd be like an act of civil war. So it's like impossible to actually bring upon. It's pretty ridiculous to even say such stupidity. You know? And like Vancouver police and have already told them they won't enforce any rules, period, not even the current ones. They ain't certainly going door to door for anybody. Matter of fact, the Vancouver police refuse to even get themselves injected, right? And so, yeah, they tried to legislate it on them, and guess what? All of them refused. And they were like, I guess you're going to have to lay off the whole fucking police force in the middle of a crime spree. And they chose not to, right? Anyways, I got to go get something. I'll be right back. I forgot. Oh, we're back. And so, I mean, they can't even get their own police force to fucking take the COVID. So I'm not sure who they're going to actually get to enforce a mandatory system, right? It would be impossible. Especially here in British Columbia. It's kind of like the crime capital of Canada. I mean, like 50% of Vancouver are all criminals. And 40% of those criminals are heavily armed. Oh, they are. I know, I've met most of them. They're not very friendly. We've been through it, as you've seen in the past. And so, yeah. So I'm not sure who they would get to enforce this since the police won't do it. Not that they could anyways. I mean, they can't even deal with the current situation, the crime spree going on. And so, yeah. They don't even report crime anymore in Vancouver, folks, because, well, it's just not news anymore. You know what I'm saying? Rapings, murderings, stabbings, they happen like hourly. Whoa, everybody's getting banned from Facebook and Twitter now. Yeah. It's going to become like Facebook, just a boring place, and then it'll go out of business. Facebook, the only reason they're still in business is because they have Instagram, and they don't block people on Instagram. They've learned only to fuck with people on Facebook. Probably because they don't care about that platform anymore. And that's my guess, and they're moving forward. But on Instagram, I say all the things that they block me for on Facebook, and they do nothing. And every now and then, they'll give me a warning, but they never do anything about it. They don't like suspend your account or anything in any way, right? And so, yeah. Twitter and Facebook, they're going down the toilet, right? Mind you, Twitter, well, if it goes down the toilets, their owner has no backup plan, you know? Facebook has a backup plan. You know, they got their metaverse coming out, and they got Instagram, and I think they own that WhatsApp app, whatever the fuck that is. I don't even know. And so, yeah, they got backup plans. Yeah, I mean, Facebook's already boring. You go on there and like everybody's been booted. You know? Everybody's suspended or booted. It's like a ghost town. Yeah, we just call it Ghost Town. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do, folks. Yeah, Joe Biden, he likes the auto unions. Do you know why he loves the auto unions so much? Oh, probably because he's involved in the embezzling of the pension funds, right? I mean, these people have done nothing for nobody in like, what, 40 years? At least, right? I mean, the last time a union leader had any fucking balls was probably 1960 something, maybe 1975 or something. I remember let's go 1984. I remember my dad dealing with some people that were pretty hardcore. But that's about the last time. These dickless wonders that run the auto unions now are just in there to loot, pillage, and fucking embezzle your pension funds, right? You know it, I know it. There's no advantage in having them at all anymore. And so good old Biden, he's a scumbag on that level at least. And so what can you do? It's how it is, right? Scumbags will be scumbags. I mean, how else could you get to that position, folks, without being a total piece of garbage? Right, folks? There's no other way. No other way. The only way to get there is fuck people left, right, and center. Yeah, you know, when my dad used to have to deal with these union bosses in the 70s and 80s, I remember one, folks, he knocked on our door during Christmas. There were like two big guys. My dad and one of his friends came running out of the door. They didn't even give the guy a chance to say hello. It was bam to the head with baseball bats and boom. And then they're out on the middle of the fucking lawn, kicking him in the head, and his body's rising 4 feet in the air with every kick, and blood's oozing out his eyes, ears, and nose, and half his ribs are broken, and the neighbors call the police, of course, right? But back then, folks, people didn't really give a shit, right? It's not like today. And so the police come, and they're like, oh, what seems to be the problem, Mr. Payne? And he's like, oh, these two pieces of shit had the balls to pay me a visit during the holidays. And they're like, not a problem, we'll help you out. Boom, boom, boom. And then the police would pull out their billy bats and fucking bash them some more, kick them some more. Then they'd throw their bodies in the trunk of the police car and drive off, right? And then, I don't know, like 3-4 days later, they'd arrive at a hospital somewhere, you know, the union bosses. And all their union members would come visit them in the hospital. And they'd be like, dude, what happened? What the fuck happened to you? And he'd be like, I went to go fight for you guys, and the bosses did this to me. And they'd be like, what the fuck? And they'd be leaving that hospital, trashing anything that belonged to the company, you know? Flipping over vehicles, setting the factory on fire, riots here and there. And before you know it, negotiations are on the table. Oh, yeah. But nobody has the balls today to take their beatings like a man anymore. And so they just get on the phone and they're like, oh, you know, be nice if we got this or that. And know what the guy does on the other end? He laughs and then hangs up, right? Because they're just a bunch of pussies. Dickless wonders. Oh, they are. And so that's how it is. You know, that is how it is. In the way of the world today, that's just ran by a bunch of dickless pussies. Oh, they have no balls at all. No kahoonies. Would never fight for anything, you know? Nothing has any value to them. The only thing that has value to them is embezzling cash and filling up their bank accounts. That's the only thing. There's no honor or anything. No integrity. Yeah, I remember my dad doing shit like that more than once. That was like a regular occurrence. That's how you negotiated back then. You know? Somebody got fucked up, and then before you know it, things were happening. And now negotiations are on the table. You know what companies do now if you go on strike, folks? They just move to Mexico. Oh, like Kellogg's is doing right now as we speak. Just move your factory to Mexico. I mean, you're dealing with a ballless union that'll do nothing about it, right? And so why not? And so that's what they do. They just move their factory to Mexico, and it's all over. You know, back in the days, if you tried to pull shit like that off, you know what would happen? You'd be shot in the head. You'd wake up, they'd find your body dead in your house one morning, and that'd be the end of it. The story over. You couldn't get away with that shit back then. Oh, no, you couldn't. You'd be dead. Before my dad passed away, he used to look at these pussies that run the company now and just laugh. He's like, oh my God, These dickless wonders know nothing. You'd be lucky if they found your body. Because most of the time, folks, like I remember one company owner from Mueller's Meats, that was the name of the company, folks, Mr. Henry Mueller. Well, his brother body was never found. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, no. Never found. Yeah, and all he did was suggest closing the factory. It wasn't even something that actually happened. Oh, yeah, that's how it goes back then. Yeah, that's how I got things accomplished when I worked in Vancouver, folks. Sometimes you have to take your beatings like a man, and then shit fucking happens. Oh, yeah. It motivates people, you know? No, it does. And so we're going to do some more bong hits here. Yeah. And so here we go. Yeah, when I used to do all that crazy shit to those bad people in Vancouver, there was I knew exactly what was coming my way, folks. It was no fucking illusion, you know? When people kicked in my door with guns and baseball bats, I was like, oh, I've been expecting you. You know? Yeah, burns. Have. It's no big shocker. Of course, then I'd post the whole incident on YouTube, and they didn't realize I was using YouTube until finally, I guess their boss phoned them and go, you know, you guys are on YouTube. Buddy's selling videos to the fucking police. I didn't just sell the videos to the police, buddy. I sell them to fucking anyone who wanted them. The media, YouTube got them for free. 300,000 people watch in 4 days. And then before you know it, we get a license plate or something and we post it, and Buddy's house burns down and his family gets beaten to death. And police knock on my door and go, you know anything about the scumbag that attacked you the other day? He's in the hospital now, and so is his whole family. Somebody went and burned down his house and beat the shit out of him. And I'm like, oh, how fucking tragic. No, I don't know anything about it. Sorry. And if I did, I wouldn't fucking tell you anyways, right? Oh, fuck. Like, who talks to police? Do they think there's somebody stupid enough that I guess there are actually, folks. I see it all the time on TV. There's fucking stupid fuckers out there. But anyways, yeah. My lawyer would always ask me that question. He'd be like, Steve, did you keep your fucking mouth shut? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, of course. And he'd be like, oh, well, then we got no problem. You'll be walking. I'll have you out in an hour. But if I said, no, I gave him like my name or talked to them in some way, even about the weather, then he'd be like, well, we'll do the best we can. I doubt I can get you out today, though. Yuppers. You say nothing. You talk about nothing, even if it has nothing to do with your case. You know what, folks? I used to walk around with no ID. You know what would happen when they asked me my name? Nothing. No response at all. I'm fucking mute. And then when we got to the police station, I'd sit and kick at the door for hours. And all the other prisoners would be like, shut the fuck up. And so they're all screaming and yelling too. And I'm kicking at the door, freaking out. And the whole place is just a fucking riot. And those pigs have to deal with this shit. And they don't even know my fucking name yet, right? And it would take them 2-3 weeks to figure out my name because they would try to do fingerprinting, right, folks? That's how they do it. And when they fingerprint you, they try to hold your finger. But they can never hold it perfect if you want to wobble it, which I always want to wobble it. And I remember one time, folks, after doing this about 8 tries, right? So this is about a week in jail now. And the guy's like, you know, sir, you should just tell us who the fuck you are. It'll be easier on you, you know? And I was like, how would this be easier on me? I'm going to be staying here either way, you know? But regardless if you know who I am or not. Oh, I will be. And right now, I get these free trips down to the police station every day. We play this fingerprinting game, hang out together. I call you guys all kinds of obnoxious names and have a really good time, you know, and get some time out of my cell. If I was to tell you who I am or allow this fingerprinting process to go forward, this whole game would end. You know? Oh, yeah. So actually, no, it's in my favor to just fucking keep playing the game. Because I'm dragging it out and just costing you money and wasting your time and services, which is my goal in life, right? As you know, folks, we cost them over $10 million on a causing a disturbance charge. It's the lowest offense you can have in Canada. But we dragged it out for 8 years, 20,000 written testimonies, 2 separate courtrooms, 2 separate judges, satellite technology to communicate from one court district to the other. It was good times. That's what you do, folks. You just drag it out. Keep dragging it out. Oh, to go on forever. And do you know what? They'll try and drop the charges. Oh, they do. I always file an appeal if they drop the charges, folks. Yeah, they're like, oh, Mr. Payne, you don't have to come to court anymore. We've dropped the charges. Oh, yeah, no. It don't work like that, buddy. I filed an appeal saying I wasn't given my fucking day in court. These fucking pigs tried to deny me my right to a day in fucking court. And that's an automatic grounds for appeal. And so then you're back to court again. And then they realize what a cocksucker they're dealing with. Oh, yeah. And they got to write paperwork up for all this shit, right? Not to mention the 20,000 testimonies they had to type out. Oh, yeah. The auditor told me, folks, that it took 4 police officers 6 months working their 12 hours a day to type out all those fucking reports and take those statements. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They weren't able to go do anything else. That was their full-time job, dealing with my case. Then in the end, folks, let's get to the very end. after causing all that money and we finally got to the end, of course I'm given the max, right? Even though I've actually done no crime. And so the court in Vancouver just can't believe that I've been sentenced to anything. They now agree with me that it's a lynching, right? They're like, can't believe this is happening in Canada. I'm like, oh, all I can. Happens all the time. And just not here in Vancouver very often. And so, anyways, I'm given the $200 fine, the 18 months community service, and the 8 months of probation. Well, I failed to ever do any probation. I just didn't show up, right, folks? I've never paid that fine to this day. And as for community service, I just never did it. They decided not to pursue it any further. Oh, yeah, they did. It wasn't worth the effort, folks? I was hoping they would get me on some fail to fucking do bullshit for them charge that I could drag out for another 7 or 8 years, but no, they just decided to let it go. I've stolen multiple fire trucks in my day. I'll steal any emergency vehicle that shows up at the marijuana riots, right? At the marijuana raids. Yeah, so any emergency vehicle, ambulance, fire truck, we prefer the most expensive one there. And so usually we'll steal a fire truck because it's worth like $500,000. And we're just there to cost money, right? We take the fire truck and then we drive it through like the window at the bank. Now we break some windows at the bank and then we reverse out. We know we can do whatever we want all across town because the whole police force is busy dealing with the riots at Mark Emery's store. And then you take the fire truck and drive it through the Government of Canada building down on Broad Street. And then you just walk out and leave. I've gotten bored, better go get another one. And we had this Cash for Chaos program, so you pay others to do the same. And they learned after like the second or third riot that they can't leave their vehicles unattended, which now lowered their numbers of people available to show up to the riot. Oh, it did, weakening their defenses. And then you throw some 50-pound bags of mustard seed from 5 stories in the air on their head, and you know how it goes, folks. Oh, yeah. That's why we say if you can't do the time, you do the crime in Canada, right? Because we're dealing with Rocky and Bullwinkle here. Not anyone who knows how to actually seek out criminals, right? Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah, there's these people on Instagram. They're like lawyers in California, I think. They're called Pop Brothers at Law. And they're always like, remember to shut the fuck up when cops ask questions. I love these guys. They're like, if you shut the fuck up, you'll be walking every time. Doesn't matter what they find. I remember one time, folks, this is a funny case. We tied chains around this bank machine, had these like little rails on the side of it. I don't know what they're for, disabled people to stand up on or something. But they were great for wrapping chains around and then ripping the whole machine out of the wall with a fucking pickup truck, right? And so there I am, I'm all on camera doing this, right, folks? It's all over the camera. They got me on camera, stealing the machine, driving off in the truck, the whole ordeal, right? And the truck, of course, is stolen with no plates on it anyways, because you can drive around plateless in Canada and the odds of being pulled over are slim to none. And so they come to my house. They can't find the machine at my house because only a moron would have it there, right? And so they can't find the machine. And I deny everything, of course. Don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I was at my friend's nightclub. My friend vouched for me. He's like, yeah, he was here dancing all night. It's like 250 people dancing all night, having a great old time. And then they take me down. They're like, we know you fucking did it. Blah, blah, blah. Give me all this fucking that I'm a piece of shit and all this other crap, right? And then they're like, show me the video, right? And I'm like, hey, it looks like there's the criminal. You should go chase after him instead of fucking harassing me. And they're like, that's what we're doing, buddy. That's you on the video. I'm like, that ain't me, buddy. You got to be high to think that. And so then they get a search warrant to search my house and discover they can't find any of the clothes I was wearing that night. Of course, because I burned them in the fucking dumpster down the street. Like, what kind of idiot brings clothing that they wore to a crime scene back home, right? And so they can't link me at all to the crime except for this video, right, folks? And so in the end, I deny everything on the video, and the court says, you have no evidence. We have to let him go. Yepers. Because here in Canada, a still frame video camera means nothing. Zero zip zitchola, folks. Yeah, you can be out there fucking stabbing people. It doesn't matter. If they don't have somebody who was holding that camera to vouch, yeah, that was the guy, then they got nothing. Then all they can hope for is that they show you the video and that somehow you break and fucking admit to your heinous crime, right? And then that would be your stupidity. They'll do stuff like, we already know you did it, man. You're going away. Oh, you are, but you could save yourself a week or two, because that's all you're going to get in Canada anyways. Fucking admitting to the heinous crime. Oh, yeah. Or here's another good one they used to use on me, folks. Your friend so-and-so already told us everything. We know you did it. And then they try and put together a story, which sometimes is pretty close to the real thing, right? And you know what I say to that, folks? I'm like, well, if my friends told you everything, then why the fuck are you talking to me? Clearly, he's told them nothing, right? Because they're still fishing. Folks, they wouldn't be talking to you if they knew what was going on, because then they don't need you anymore. Oh, it's true. They only talk to you because they're fishing for information. Oh, yeah. And so you just go, yeah, well, if he's told you everything, I guess I don't need to say fuck all. No, better go talk to my friend. Don't know why you're wasting your time with me. Oh, and here's one of the funniest questions a pig ever asked me in my life, folks. You ready for this one? Oh, yeah. This is when we were stealing computers and TV sets out of government buildings and reselling them to the local people, right? This is back in the 80s. And the cop goes to me. He's like, this is a year after this particular day. He's like, where were you on January the 23rd last year? It's like, who the fuck knows, right? But I usually say something like banging your wife and having your daughter suck my cock. That's where I was. Oh, yeah. And so those were usually my common responses to stupidity like that. I remember one time this guy beat me up, because it was some nasty guy, and he was with his wife, and I was like, "How much for the female?" Because he was like trying to intimidate me, and I let him know how intimidated I was, you know. Anyways, I had to run fast after saying that, folks. Yeah, he's a big guy. But I wasn't too worried because he's a big guy. He's slow and he runs out of energy quickly, right? Big guys always do. And so, on the other hand, I'm small, fast, and agile. I'm over 50 fences and cross town before he's even fucking crossed the street, you know? Oh, yeah. And that's how that used to work out. Yeah. And back then, folks, they almost never caught anybody. You know, all this technology they have today didn't exist yet. And one time I remember running from the police, right? And they actually caught me. It was a rare occasion. It was actually, do you know why they caught me? I was with my friend Paul Methvin. We were on a bicycle and we kind of ratted ourselves out to the police officer because we were bored, right? And that's the kind of stuff we used to do. And my friend Paul was, well, what do we call that? A psycho. Yeah. And so anyways, he threw a big cylinder block through the police officer's car window because he wouldn't believe us that we were criminals. And we tried to tell him that we're criminals and you should try to arrest us. And so Paul throws a big cylinder block through his window. So then he gets out of the car and chases us. And so we run across the street where there's this McDonald's, right? And the McDonald's folks, right? Paul grabs like the manager at the McDonald's and slides over the counter. He's a big guy and most people don't want to mess with him. And he slides over the counter. And so I slide over the counter too, start loading my pockets with all the money in the tills. And he grabs the manager by the head, holds his head over the deep fryer. And when the pig walks in, he goes, "Make a move, pig." And this guy turns into French fries. In the end, we burned the place down. But, and they arrested us later that night. That was a good night. We had a lot of fun. Should have arrested us at the top of Clifton Hill, you know? You know what happened for that crime, folks? Nothing, because at the time I was still a teenager, and I was living at the Regional Adolescence Center, which is like a torture facility for children, right? And they knew that if they arrested me and put me in prison, that would be doing me a favor. Now you've gotten me out of the torture center to a fucking luxury prison with fucking, which I discovered eventually, and which was the whole plan in the first place when we were doing all that shit when I was a kid, right? Another time we stole the fire truck, just drove it right over Niagara Falls. I just stuck the toolbox on the fucking gas pedal in the park and let it fly right over the railings. Woo! There she goes. Oh, yeah. I would turn myself in all the time. That's why we were turning ourselves in at that moment, because we want to get arrested, because being arrested would be an improvement. And so they would take us back to the Regional Adolescence Center, folks, which was a horrible place to say the least, where they torture children on a daily basis. And, but my family, well, this place had enough security for children, but didn't have enough security to hold my grandmother and my parents and everybody else from getting in from the outside. My mother, one time, she drove her car right through the living room window. And then she opened the side door. She's like, "Steve, get on in. We're getting the fuck out of this place." Oh, yeah. And so eventually I did get arrested, folks, and was sentenced to 18 months. That was for burning the Regional Adolescent Center down, and some of the staff died. Well, all of them died. But we don't want to get into that, right, folks? They were all bags of shit, and the world's a better place without them. And one of them actually didn't die until I was in prison. And so, and another one actually, oh, there is another story. After I got out of prison, folks, one of them was still alive. This was this guy, Guy, the most fucking, we wish he had died in the original fire. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't. And so when I got out of jail and discovered that he was still alive, 18 months, I went to Hamilton Barton Street prison in Hamilton. And it was a luxury palace compared to where I was. You could go to the gym. We played volleyball twice a week. I went out and played football on weekends. Everybody there was fairly cool with me. We watched TV all the time. We never even heard of TV. And yeah, no, it was a great place. It was sad to leave. And so that's how that was. And so anyways, when I got out, I discovered this piece of shit's still alive, right? And I guess he's forgotten about me and moved on with his life, you know? But he does have like bad burns from the incident. And so he's in constant pain all the time. And so one night I take pictures of his kids at school, him dropping off his kids at school. He has no clue that I'm even out and around. I don't communicate with him in any way, right? And then I wrapped the picture of his kids on a rock, and on the back of the pictures, I write, "You can't be everywhere all the time." And I throw the rock through his window, right? And then he's like, probably wondering what the fuck, right? And so then the next day I burned down his house with a Molotov cocktail. I guess his wife ends up leaving him. I tormented his employer, even though they couldn't figure out who was doing it, eh? I'd write his name on the window and go, "Your window broke today because this piece of shit works for you." And if he's still working there next week, this place is going to catch fire. Oh, yeah. And I would send all kinds of nasty people to his employer, and they would like slash every tire in the parking lot and stuff like that. So eventually he got laid off. His house is burned down. His family has left him, and he's in constant pain. It was looking really good, folks. I was having a lot of fun, you know? And then, oh, folks, there's a twist. Oh, fuck. It was a good day, folks. This was a day when I no longer did any of that crap because he ended it all for us. One day, finally, he decides to hold some kids hostage at gunpoint at a bus shelter, showing his true colors. Everybody was surprised, except me, of course, because I knew that's the kind of piece of shit he is. And a police officer shot him in the head. Oh, yeah. Big surprise there. And so, anyways, he had a funeral, right? And his mother, who's like a horrible person, and well, his whole family are horrible people, right? But his mother, I particularly knew firsthand. I show up at the funeral, right, with a big bottle of champagne. I shake it. Pooh! Woo! Time to party! The piece of shit's dead! And his mother's like, I guess they were talking about, there was somebody harassing him, but they couldn't figure out who. And then his mother looks over and goes, "I know who. There he is." I'm like, "Hey, bitch, the witch is dead, eh?" Oh. Anyways, the police had to drag me out of the place because I was having too much fun. And that was the end of that. Then I moved on with my life. Oh, I did. I was like, oh, I guess that saga's over. Yeah. And the police officer who shot him, he's talking to me, eh? And I'm like, dude, normally I don't have good things to say about the police force, but you are a fucking hero for killing that piece of shit. You shouldn't feel bad, because he's at the funeral feeling bad for shooting him, eh? I'm like, what these people are saying about him is a total lie. This guy tortures little children and anything else he can get his hands on, as you saw when you shot him in the first place. You've done a public service. I'm going to spend the rest of my life celebrating this moment, which I have. And so, yeah, but he's like, you got to go. Oh, fuck. Yeah. And then some friends who stayed at the Regional Adolescent Center, right? They're like, did you hear what happened to Guy? It's so horrible. I'm like, yeah, isn't it, eh? I'm the one who made it happen. And then none of them talk to me anymore. Supposedly I'm the bad guy. I'm like, you guys have serious problems if you had any fucking caring for that piece of garbage. Yeah, none of them talked to me after that day. So anyways, I'm a lunatic for taking out the trash, They're just going to be pussies like everybody else today and put up with that kind of shit. Anyways, fire in the hall. Oh, here's another funny one, folks. One time, my grandmother, she had problems with this neighbor of hers. He kept building fucking shit on her property, right? And so she'd tear it down, and she was she trained horses for a living. She was a hardcore lady, right? And her kind don't exist anymore. Like, I remember one Christmas, Jehovah Witnesses came over to my grandmother's house, and I'm like, Grandma, it's the Jehovah Witnesses at the door. And she came by with her shotgun, loaded it, went one shot in the air, and then she starts reloading, and she's like, you got 5 seconds to get the fuck off my property or the next one's inside you. And this is them standing with like some 5-year-old little girl too, Oh yeah. And back then nobody gave a fuck if you shot at Jehovah Witnesses in the middle of nowhere. And so that was just a risk you took going on people's property, right? It's not like today. And so, yeah. So anyways, this guy builds shit on her property. And one time when we're over, we drive by and there's like a building on the edge of her property, and like there's somebody in it. And so my grandmother pulls over, gets her shotgun. And the guy's like petrified of my grandmother, right? Because he's encountered her before. His brother was almost eaten to death by her dogs, right? And so, he had, he had a fear factor. And my grandmother yells through the door because he has it kind of sealed. And she's like, you better come the fuck out, buddy. You got 5 seconds or the option of leaving will no longer be available. Oh no, he don't come out, folks. So my grandmother goes, Steve, get me the gas can from the back of the truck. And she pours gas all around the hut and nails the doors and windows shut, and then sets the place on fire. And we got back in the truck and left. We never heard what happened to him, but he was still around a few days later, so I guess he found a way out. My grandmother also had this guy across the street who tried to build a golf course, and she made sure that never happened either. That was an endless drama that went on for about 25, 30 years. Oh, yeah. Those were good times. The golf course scumbag. My grandmother was kind of an environmentalist, and she wasn't going to put up with some golf course in her neighborhood. She used to give us money to do bad things to his golf course, you know, when we'd go visit on holidays. She'd like, oh, hey kids, you want to take the backhoe across the street to the golf course and dig some holes? And we set his lodge on fire like 11 times. We made his customers, well, we used to throw their cars into a 10-foot ditch with the backhoe, right? And so nobody wants to go there anymore. And he's had 7 fires. You can't get insurance for the place. The Arts next door to my grandmother's, they used to block the whole road and cause total chaos and riots. It was pretty entertaining. And eventually he hung himself in one of his burned out buildings that we had set on fire. We were like, oh, that's the end of that scumbag. And then the Arts bought the land, and it became a beautiful, nice little forest, which I believe it still is to this day. Yeah. Oh, we used to terrorize his customers. They knew not to go there eventually, because the nearest police force was 45-minute drive too, right, folks? So it's completely lawless at territory. And my grandmother's friends with everybody on the street. This asshole with the golf course, he has no friends. None. None that are willing to show up on his behalf, at least. My grandmother beat the shit out of him one time because he walked on her land to complain. He's lucky he didn't get eaten by her dogs, because she had dogs that were trained to kill unless told otherwise, right? And she beat the shit out of him with a baseball bat, and he was in the hospital for like 6-7 months. That was when I was like a little kid. And yeah, it was pretty entertaining. They tried to charge her with assault, but back then that wasn't a big deal, right? It's like $200 fine or something. My grandmother was like the cost of doing business. Oh, you know, folks, back in the good old days, my grandmother told me when she was young, if you shot somebody who came on your property or whatever, didn't need a real reason, you just get a fine, you know? They'd come by and go, you know, you shouldn't have done that. It's not nice. Oh, yeah. That's how it used to be. We're going to have to give you like a $200 fine, you know? Oh, yeah, sometimes just a warning. You know, next time you shoot somebody, yeah, there was this, when I was reading about the history of Vancouver, there was this prostitute in Vancouver, and she used to shoot people all the time. And because the mayor and the local government was all part of her customers, she wouldn't even get a day in court. They'll just be like, oh, well, that's what she does. You know, she shoots people. You shouldn't be confrontating with her. Yeah. I've been shot a couple of times, but never by people who wanted to kill me, though they claim they did, but clearly they did not, because one shot me in the shoulder, the other in the leg. If you want to kill somebody, you don't shoot him in those places. What? Oh, no, you don't. Oh, look, my sledge is empty. I'm smoking drugs, the good kind. I'll do one more hit, then I gotta go, folks. I've been in here for an hour, and I got other things to do. I bought, as some of you may know, it's my birthday on Sunday. My phone's been ringing off the hook all week for like the last 2 days. Fuck, it's crazy. Anyways, I got a big 23-pound leg of ham. I posted it on Instagram. It's like huge. All my previous customers and people I worked with in Vancouver have been calling me. I'm like, I thought we moved on, parted ways. You know? I wasn't expecting calls from these people. So, anyways, I'm going to start cooking that up tomorrow. I've never had a piece of pork that big and ever that I've cooked. You know, I cook a lot of dishes, but and so it'll be pretty interesting. We'll have some fun with it. I think it's a raw leg of ham, right? It's not pre-cooked like most are. So I'm thinking of scoring the skin, right? Because I can't find any decent recipes online. And so thinking of scoring the skin and then some salt, some pepper, cook that for about 4 or 5 hours probably, and at maybe 350 or something. And then when I take it out, maybe cut it in half, turn one half into a honey ham, and then the other half into like pulled pork or something. I'm not sure. We'll see what we do. It should be pretty interesting. I don't eat lamb. It's fucking disgusting. Makes me want to barf. Real bad. Oh, yeah. But I'll eat a pig. Pork is good. Lamb's kind of barfy. And here in Canada, I don't know about where you live, lamb is the most expensive meat on the market also. It's like almost, you can't find it in most grocery stores, so now you have to go to a specialty store or a butcher to even buy the stuff. Or Costco, they have it there actually. But it's the most expensive no matter what the situation is. Oh, it always is. Costs more than anything else. But I don't like it, so it saves me money. The leg of ham. The leg of ham is was only $1 a pound today. That's a pretty good deal. I gotta go potty. I'll be right back. Ah, my kid's got the soca playing inside. Blame it on the music. Oh yeah, one time, folks, when I first came to BC, I drove up to Quesnel. These are like redneck, racist type of community, and they all listen to country and western. And I was in my Porsche then, and I put the roof down and cranked it so loud you could see the windows vibrating at the grocery store, and everybody started dancing, even inside the store. Oh yeah, it was quite a scene. But this town was a really fucked up place, folks. They arrest natives for going in the park while white people are in there playing, right? And other kinds of wonderful stuff like that. Totally fucked up community. And we did some fun stuff there. That's where our causing disturbance charge that cost like $10 million to the good people of British Columbia came from, right? And so I think we left our mark there for sure. I got like 20 front page articles from when I lived there of me on the front page. Anyways, fire in the hall. All right. So anyways, maybe I'll do one more. Oh, having some fun. This is pretty good stuff. Oh, did you make some potato pancakes? Yum, yum, yum. My kids won't eat that shit, but I do. So I'm going to run. Until next time, peace out.